Ethereum is on fire lately. Check this out. It's up 17.8% in the last 7 days. Now, that's probably for a lot of different reasons, but many are calling it the so-called merge effect. But Vitalik is busy clapping for a project that is not Ethereum. However, it's built on top of Ethereum. And this project is right now killing .com, that entire industry. And it's also selling for millions of dollars, even in the midst of this, yes, ongoing bear market. But is it really $1 million opportunity, or is it just more hype? In this video, we're going to give you guys our honest opinion. And stick around to the end of this video because we provide you guys with specifics on how to build your very own .eth domain. And in addition, we also provide you guys with pragmatic tips and tricks on how to make your domain successful. All right, but to begin with, what is Ethereum Name Service? Well, that's what ENS stands for. It's an acronym, Ethereum Name Service. And by the way, if you're familiar with this project already, then you may want to skip ahead. Use the timestamps below, and you can fast forward to the how to get an ENS name section of this video, or maybe tips and tricks to create an ENS. But for everyone else, if you're hearing about this for the first time, let me try to explain it to you in the simplest possible terms. So ENS, again, which stands for Ethereum Name Service, that's a .eth domain name project. Now, in our everyday internet usage, we make use of regular domains, something like YouTube, for example. You're watching this video on YouTube, that's youtube.com. So that's actually the address of YouTube on the internet. But blockchain domains work a little bit differently. They're similar, but they have an address on the blockchain. Now, what is the point of having a name attached to a blockchain address? What is it capable of doing that a regular .com or .net, .org, other domains, what can a blockchain domain do that some of those other domains can't? Well, there are two things specifically that we want to highlight here. So first of all, number one, a domain name on blockchain, like for example, Amazon.eth, that can be used as a payment gateway. So if I go ahead and create an ENS domain, let's say Maddie.eth, I can connect all my cryptocurrency addresses to this name and receive my crypto here on Maddie.eth. It's therefore very functional, very convenient. And this is one of the biggest reasons Vitalik is actually cheering for the project. He was actually quoted recently as saying, ENS is probably the most successful non-financial Ethereum application today. The number two major advantage of a domain name on blockchain is that you can build websites that are totally 100% censorship resistant, which is a big deal today. So that's to say that nobody can take it down, not Google, not a government, nobody. It is totally censorship resistant. And because of these two major advantages over traditional domain names, a lot of big brands out there and companies are now trying to get their hands on that .eth suffix. And even Vitalik made Ethereum.org available on Ethereum.eth back in March of 2020. And look, love him or hate him, you see a lot of celebrity names like Jimmy Fallon and other brands like Puma, for example, that are on top of the .eth leaderboard here. We're on ETH leaderboard.xyz. And the rumor is that Amazon.eth, which we talked about a moment ago, that was worth 100 ETH back in 2019, so about $50,000, but Amazon wasn't interested purportedly at that time. And then recently, Amazon.eth received an offer of 1 million USDC on OpenSea. So you can see the direction in which enthusiasm seems to be moving. There's a lot of attention and a lot of money flowing into this space. You're going to see in a moment in our tips and tricks section of this video how you could potentially even make a side business out of flipping .eth names. But going back to Amazon, as far as why they have not yet bought that domain is a mystery, at least to us. I think it would behoove them to get moving in this particular area. Okay, let's specifically talk about what can be done with ENS. So apart from giving a human-readable name to your cryptocurrency addresses and a great censorship-resistant domain name, you can actually do a lot with .eth. For example, you can receive NFTs on your .eth domain name, and you can also customize them in quirky ways. You can add emoticons to your .eth names if you want, and you can also sell them. So Foundation.eth brought in 300 Ether, And then if you look at exchange.eth, they brought in 6,660 ETH back in 2017, which is to say that it's already ENS's 5th year. You can also claim a Web3 name, and you can associate this with a website URL, your Twitter account, or with an avatar. For example, this is what Jimmy Fallon did. You can also create your own pseudonymous online identity, and if you so choose, you can add to this a picture for profile NFT with its own ENS domain. And you can also create ENS subdomains. So for instance, learn.altcoinbuzz.eth. More on this is coming up in our tips and tricks section. Now, undeniably, and by the numbers, the popularity of ENS has been soaring. Just in the second week of July 2022, for example, over 100,000 new ENS domains were created. Let's now talk about how to get an ENS name. We created a simple tutorial video here explaining how to create your own ENS account. And in this case, it starts off by showing that the name Altcoin Buzz has already been taken. Surprise, surprise. But then it continues with setting up a more personalized account. In this case, CamilleLemons.eth. So 2 tips are important to highlight here. First of all, number 1, register for a few years, because if you have a more long-term plan, this is going to save quite a bit on gas fees. And number 2, make sure you have enough ETH in your wallet because, as we all know, gas fees fluctuate. Set up MetaMask and fund your wallet. Log into ENS Manager. Search for your desired .eth name. Register your .eth name for a specific period. And finally, register and confirm the transaction on MetaMask. Now, I myself am not a big fan of paying hefty gas fees, and so for that reason, we're going to walk you through some of the ENS competitors out there on other chains where you may be able to get domain names at lower, much lower gas fees. So that is an option, but guys, if you already have a .eth domain name, or maybe you just used this tutorial to create one, it's not very difficult. First of all, thumbs up for the channel, but also comment with your .eth domain name in the comments below. Extra points for creativity for the wildest domains out there. All right, we're now going to talk about tips and tricks, very pragmatic ones, by the way, on how to create a valuable domain. Now, setting it up, as we just saw, isn't all that complicated. Probably takes about 5 to 10 minutes or so, not so bad. It was a lot more complicated back in the day, but fortunately, things have been streamlined. Let's begin with tip number 1. So 3, 4, 5, or 6-letter names were popular really from the very beginning. This was an undeniable trend, simply because there are only a limited number of them. So try to get one of those because they are selling like hotcakes. And it's a trend that resulted in a 10K club with numbers ranging between 0 and 9,999. And this resulted in a new all-time high of 1,785 sold domains on April 27th, 2022. Before that, there were rarely over 100 new names per day. One of these numbers even sold for 55.5 ETH. By the way, for reference, the current floor price is about 1.5 ETH. And really, since then, user numbers have just skyrocketed. So April, for example, saw 163,000 new domains registered. Then May saw an increase to 365,000. Now, in June, the numbers did drop all the way back down to 122,000, but then July just broke all previous records. They even got up over above May numbers. For reference, in July of 2021, you had about 60 average daily new names. And then fast forward a year later, July 2022, that number went from 60 to 11,450 as the average number of new names per day. Our second tip is to look for popular .eth domain names in English, first of all, and then check to see if there's a non-English or maybe your local language version domain name available. This is important. You can thank me for this tip, by the way, in the comments below. And by the way, guys, we recently asked our Twitter followers to drop their ETH domain names in the tweet comments, and here's some of the pretty interesting ones that we came across. So just highlighting a few of them here. You can see they're varied. These are representative of people from all over the world. Again, share your domain names in the comments below, whether it's .eth or maybe even from some of the competitors that we're going to look at in just a second. So ENS is facing stiff competition. We like Ethereum Name Service, but the fact of the matter is that there are a lot of competitors out there in the space. These are other platforms that are offering similar services. Some of them are offering those services on Ethereum, and some of them are offering them on other blockchains. Let's begin with a look at Unstoppable Domains. They are a non-profit like ENS, and some domains are brand protected, Membership is a one-time fee without renewals, and it's built on Polygon. Now, some services are based on Ethereum, so you're going to end up paying heavily in gas fees with unstoppable domains. Another competitor is PNS, which stands for Polkadot Name Service, and here everything happens in DOT. There's a registration fee of $25 and a yearly fee as well. You're definitely going to save on gas fees with this option. And if you create a .pns name, or maybe you've already done so, drop it in the comments below. Let us know what you've chosen. Solana Name Service is another competitor where everything happens in Sol. There's a storage limit of 1 kilobyte, and you can't change this after initial registration. Prices are around $20 per domain name, and renewal fees are similar to ENS. Personally speaking, for the time being, I would probably stay away from Solana as its ecosystem, as we all know, was hacked for the 9th time this year. Check out this video if you're not up to speed on this story. We talk about how 8,000 SOL wallets were hacked. We also provide you guys with functional tips on how you can protect not only your Sol, but your other altcoins and the rest of your crypto. So there you have it, our thoughts on ENS. We're genuinely excited about this because it's undeniable that there's a lot of growing optimism and enthusiasm for these domain names. And it makes sense because if you consider that ENS domains are going to play an important part in Web3, it makes sense that people are getting behind this and that it's gaining momentum. And we showed you guys that the domains themselves are very versatile in terms of functionality. They can handle all kinds of different things all at once, by the way. And of all the options out there, ENS, as we see it, is on top of the pile. And it may be the right time to secure your ENS domain name if it's something that you've been considering. Even Vitalik would agree. Never financial advice, as you know, but of course, best of luck if you choose to invest. Guys, if you're still watching this video, be sure to like, subscribe, share, hit the bell to receive notifications, and do drop your .eth or your other domain names in the comments below. We'd love to see your creativity, of course, and start a discussion there. Check out these other couple of videos, which should be popping up here to my left, to my right. Stay safe out there, members of the Altcoin Buzz Army, and as always, we do hope to see you again soon in our next video. Take care.